Now, the Mayor of London has announced that London's ultra-low emission zone, otherwise known as ULEZ, is going to be expanded from August next year. The changes will mean that drivers of older cars who enter the Greater London Authority boundary will face a daily fee of £12.50 for using London's roads. So I'm pleased to say the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, joins us now from East London. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Khan. Just explain a little bit more, if you will, in a bit more detail about what is going to be in place in August.
Good to join you. Well, listen, it wasn't an easy decision, it was a tough decision, but it's the right decision. Here in our great city, every year, there are more than 4,000 premature deaths directly attributable to air pollution, to the air we breathe. That's an invisible killer. You can't see the nitrogen dioxide and the particulate matter, but it leads to children having stunted lungs forever and adults with a whole host of health issues, from asthma to dementia, from cancer to heart disease. And we've seen the world-leading ultra-low emission zone being transformative in central and inner London, reducing by half the toxic air in central London, by a further 20% in inner London. I think the right to breathe clean air is surely a right for everyone in London, and that's why from next August, with the support of a massive £110 million scrappage scheme, we'll be expanding ULEZ so all Londoners can breathe cleaner air.
So £12.50 for those with certain types of vehicle, and then that's on top of the congestion charge.
So at the moment, actually, across the ULEZ area, more than 94% of vehicles are now compliant. It used to be only 39% of vehicles. So what our policy is leading to is a change in behaviour, fewer non-compliant vehicles and an improvement in air. But because I recognise that if you're a low-income family, if you're a small business, if you're a charity, if you're a disabled Londoner, you may be driving a polluting vehicle and need help, I've also announced today a massive scrappage scheme, £110 million, which also enables you to retrofit your vehicle if you want to do so, if you can't make the option of changing from your car to a cleaner vehicle. And the other thing we've announced today is the biggest expansion of new bus routes ever in outer London, an additional 1 million kilometres of new bus routes.
But what I'm getting at, Mr. Khan, is this is going to be very expensive, isn't it, for some people whose vehicles don't comply and they're driving into London and they're going to get clobbered with the congestion charge and the ULEZ charge now at a time the worst cost of living crisis in living memory. Many people can't afford their heating or indeed food.
There's only a cost if your vehicle is non-compliant. That's why we've got the scrappage scheme. But look, I accept that the politically expedient decision would have been to kick the can down the road. But I think the costs of inaction, we've seen, far outweigh the costs of action. I think public health trumps political expediency. But to support families, to support businesses during the cost of living crisis, we have the scrappage scheme, which will be helping people make the transition a just transition.
So what do you hope to raise from this? Or what have you raised already from ULEZ charges, and what do you hope to raise by expanding it?
Well, actually, the cost of ULEZ in the first few years outweighs the money you bring in. But any net proceeds we make, every penny that's net proceeds in the surplus, is going to be invested in public transport. It's really important that we invest in public transport. It's simply not possible for us to encourage people to move away from vehicles unless we can make walking, cycling and public transport a better alternative. So just to reassure those that still will be driving non-compliant vehicles, by the way, they themselves are breathing in the poison, as well as others, every penny raised net will be invested in public transport.
But many people, and there have been various polls, I know that you disagree with some of them, but there have been a number of polls which show that the majority of Londoners don't agree with this expansion of ULEZ, and they say that it's all about revenue raising instead of being about public health. What do you say to that?
Well, the most comprehensive poll showed that actually more than double Londoners support the expansion than are against it. But actually, here's the point. In the 1950s, when the government took a brave decision to pass the Clean Air Act and basically ban power stations from central London, there was also opposition to that. When I was in Parliament and I voted to ban smoking in public places, massive opposition to that as well. When I first introduced the ultra-low emission zone. There was opposition to that initially, but actually the effects have been transformative of the Clean Air Act, banning smoking in public spaces, and the ultra-low emission zone. In fact, experts say the best way, the quickest way to clean up the air in our city is expanding ULEZ. And in fact, cities across the globe, including in our country, are speaking to us on a daily basis, asking us how they can do the same.